me talk to you real quick. I want to put a thought in your head. And you tell me quietly to yourself whether you have already had it. There's a company that made you. There's a company that promoted you, sponsored you, walked you into rooms you couldn't have walked into yourself when you started. Maybe it's the company that you're with right now. Maybe it is the company before this one. Or maybe it is 2 companies ago. And you have been carrying the loyalty ever since. You owe them something because that is how you have framed it for a long time. You owe them. And every time the thought of leaving has come up in the last, let's say, 18 months or couple of years, that is the word that has shown you the door back to your desk. Loyalty. But here's what I want you to consider. You heard? What if the loyalty has quietly become the cage? What if the company that made you only made part of you? And the part of you that is still growing, the part that nobody at that company actually sees anymore, you guessed it, needs a different room. What's good with you? I'm Ibrahim Daffae, and this is the I Don't Subscribe, presented by none other than House of Lone Wolf. If you are new, I want to say once again thank you for taking the time and checking us out. I know there are many other platforms out there, but I want you to rock with me. Again, I'm a BX boy. It takes something to get used to. But when you rock with me, you're going to find out like this episode is going to be a slower episode. We're not going to make it too crazy, you heard? But yet, if you are returning listeners, I want to say thank you to you guys as well. You heard? Because you already know what we do here. We do not do theory. We do not do inspiration. We name things. And today's name is one of the hardest names to say out loud about a place you used to love. Let me say something about companies that I do not think get said clearly enough. A company is a development environment. It is not a family. It is not a calling. It is not your mission. It is not the totality of your professional life. It is a development environment. And like any development environment, right? Let's say the gym, the workshop, the lab. It is designed to develop a specific set of capabilities under a specific set of conditions for a specific phase of someone's growth. A gym is designed to make you stronger. It is not designed to make you a complete athlete. At some point, your gains plateau and you have to add running or swimming or mobility work or rest, because you must remember that the gym did not fail you. The gym did its job. The job was always partial. A music conservatory teaches you classical techniques. It does not teach you how to write hit songs. At some point, the conservatory's curriculum runs out of road for the kind of musician you are becoming. The conservatory did not fail you. The conservatory's design had a ceiling. What about a residency that teaches a surgeon how to operate in an academic medical center under the supervision of a senior surgeon? It does not teach them how to run a private practice. At some point, the residency ends, and what comes next requires a different kind of room. You see, the company you have been in for the last, let's say, 5, 10, 12, 15 years, or even 20 years was a development environment. It develops something specific in you. And the question I want you to consider, without the answer being a referendum on your loyalty, is whether that development environment still has road for the version of you that exists today. Here's what it looks like when the room has been outgrown. I'm going to list about 6 patterns here. And I want you to notice quietly to yourself which ones you have already felt. Pause. The first pattern: the work has stopped teaching you. See, you can do it. You can do it well, like Cool J. But you can do it in your sleep. Somewhere in the last 18 months, or however long, I keep it going to 18 months. I don't know why, it's just a favorite number, it seemed like. But at some point, you stop learning from it. The challenges arrive, and you know within the first 90 seconds how they end. You manage, you deliver, and you move on. There's no new vocabulary in your week. The second pattern: the conversations at your level have gotten boring. Not because the people are boring, the people are smart, but the conversations have converged, and the leadership team has thought the same thoughts together for years, and every meeting is slightly different combination of the same 5 mental moves. The most interesting conversations you are having now are pretty much happening outside of the building, with another peer in a different industry, with someone you met at a conference, with a former colleague who left 3 years ago and seems to have grown faster since they left than the entire executive team has grown together. Man, that is a signal. The third pattern is that you have started editing yourself in your own meetings. There is a version of your thinking that you have learned does not land here, right? Maybe it is too long term. Maybe it is too cross functional. Maybe it is too honest about what is not working. So you have a meeting, a version of your thinking and an actual version. And the actual version has nowhere to go. See, you used to bring the actual version. You stopped about 2, 3 years ago. You did not announce it. You did not even decide it. You learned it. The fourth pattern, the wins have stopped feeling like wins. Yes, you hit the number. You closed the deal. You shipped the thing. The board congratulates you. The CEO sends the note. And you feel, what is the word? Oh, yeah, you feel fine. You do not feel proud. You do not feel energized. You do not feel like the cost of producing the win was higher than the win return. The math has been quietly inverting on every cycle, and you have not allowed yourself to do the math out loud yet. The fifth pattern, you have started having a recurring conversation in your head. It happens late at night or early in the morning before anyone else is up, or in the car, or on your way to catch a flight. It happens late at night or early in the morning before anyone else is up, or in the car on the way to a flight. And the conversation is not loud, it is a kind of a whisper, but the whisper has a shape. The whisper asks, is this it? Not in despair, in curiosity. You are not unhappy, you are bored. And the boredom is not weakness, it is information. The sixth pattern, you have stopped recruiting people into the company who are like you. This is the one most leaders do not catch. I really believe that. When you were rising, you wanted to bring everyone you respected with you. You will pitch your friends, you will close the reluctant senior people. You sold the place. You do not sell it anymore. If your closest peer called you tomorrow asking, hey, whether your company is a place they should consider, it's likely that you will hesitate. You will hesitate because somewhere inside of you, you have already concluded that the place is now where the most interesting next chapter happens. You have not said that conclusion to yourself yet, but your behavior already knows. You have handled everything, every crisis, every board, every room that needed someone to hold it together. You held it. Nobody asked what holding it cost you. I want to assure you that House of Lone Wolf was built for the executive who has been paying that bill alone. We don't do theory. We don't do inspiration. What we do, We diagnose what your training never gave you language for. So this is not coaching. This is not therapy. This is the work for the leader whose frameworks ran out somewhere around year 10 and who has been operating on instinct ever since. I want you to start with the 7-minute executive crisis framework. It is complimentary, no pitch involved, just 7 minutes. It names what you have been carrying. houseoflonewolf.com. You heard? Because you already know if this is for you. You heard? Now, let me talk about the loyalty piece because if any of those 6 indicators landed, I know at least 3 of them did. You're already running a counter argument in your head. And I dig it. So, the counter argument is going to sound like this for many people. But this company made me. They took a chance on me. They promoted me when nobody else would. They paid for my MBA. They kept me through the maternity leave, through the depression, through the year I almost lost it. I owe them. I want to be careful here because I am not telling people that loyalty is a lie. Loyalty is real. And the people who are invested in you are real. And the relationships you build with these people are real. But there's a specific kind of loyalty that I want to put a name on. It is loyalty to the version of the company that existed when it made you. The company that promoted you 10 years ago, for example, that company is not the company you work at today. The leadership is different. The culture has shifted. The strategy has pivoted. The economics have changed. You are not loyal to the people who are there now. You are loyal to the memory of the people who were there then. And that loyalty is loyalty to a place that does not exist anymore. It is the same shape of loyalty that keeps people in marriages to versions of their spouse that ended 5 years ago. The same shape that keeps people in friendships that ended in spirit and continue in form. Yes, I'm talking about the same shape that keeps people in churches whose leadership has changed more than thrice. The loyalty is honorable. The loyalty is also misdirected. Because the people, right? The people who actually invested in you, the people whose investment is the reason you feel you owe something, most of them have either already left or would understand if you did. The person you would actually be betraying is a version of the company that has not existed for a long time. Now, let me describe the new room because if you are sitting with the recognition that the current room has been outgrown, then the next move is not just to leave. The next move is to know what you are leaving for. There's a difference between escape and direction. Escape is I cannot do this anymore. Direction is I am building towards something specific. Escapes get you out the door. It does not place you well in what comes next. The new room, whatever shape it takes, has maybe 3 characteristics worth naming. First, the work asks something of you that you do not yet know how to do. If you can already do the work in the new role is not big enough. The right next room makes you a beginner in something that matters. Even while you bring all the seniority and capability you built in that old room. That feeling of, I am not sure I can do this, is not a warning sign. It is the indicator that the room is correctly sized. Second, the conversations are upgraded. When you walk into the new room, you find yourself surrounded by people whose thinking is at or beyond your own. Not in every domain, but in the domains that matter for what you are now trying to build. The conversation is not boring. The conversation is hard. And the difficulty of the conversation is the thing that keeps you in the room. Third, the version of you that has been editing itself for years gets unedited. The thoughts you have been having alone, that you have been bringing to the meeting in compressed form because the room could not hold them, those thoughts can finally be spoken at full size. Not because everyone agrees with you, but because everyone is operating at the bandwidth where your actual thinking is welcome instead of inconvenient. That last one for me is the one most executives describe when they finally find the next role. They do not describe it as freedom. They describe it as being legible again. Now, this is not an episode where I'm telling you to quit your job by Friday. It is an episode asking you to do one specific thing in the next 30 days. Just one thing. If you subscribe to this, pick 3 people whose careers you genuinely respect. Not the most famous people. The people who, when you watch how they actually live and how they actually work, you find yourself thinking, I want what they have figured out. Again, if you subscribe, 3 people, and ask each of them the same question in a coffee shop, in a phone call, however you want to do it, do it. But ask them the question. Ask them, what was the moment you knew the previous chapter was over? And how long did it take you to admit it to yourself? Do not ask for an advice. It is an infringement upon your intuitional experience. Do not ask for permission. You don't need permission to do anything. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Do not ask whether you should leave your job. That is the wrong question, and it will get you the wrong information. Ask the recognition question. What was the moment? How long did it take to admit? You will get 3 different answers. The answers will be specific and personal, not transferable directly to your situation. But you will notice something happening inside of you while you're listening. You will notice that the part of you that has been whispering at 3 in the morning starts to recognize itself in someone else's voice. That recognition is data. That recognition is the information you have not been able to access on your own because the conversation in your head has nowhere to land. The actual decision, when to leave, where to go, how to structure the exit, what to negotiate, what to protect, that is a longer conversation, and it does not happen in this episode. But the recognition has to come first. Because without the recognition, no decision is going to feel like yours. Let me bring you back. See if we can wrap it all up. There's a company that made you. And the gratitude is real. The relationships are real. The investment was real. And it is also true that the version of you that is growing right now, the version that has been compressing itself, editing itself, performing competence at a level that costs you more than it can return, that version needs a different room. So, the hardest thing about outgrowing the place that made you is that the place did not do anything wrong. You did not do anything wrong. The relationship simply reached the end of the road it was built for, like Boys the Man. And the most loyal thing you can do for the people who actually invested in you and for the version of yourself that has been waiting for permission to grow into the next thing is to admit that the road ended and to start looking for the next one. Until next time, I'm Ibrahim Daffae, and I don't subscribe to the idea that loyalty means staying somewhere your growth has already left. You dig? And I'm out.
What?